star so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Thursday. It'll be Friday by the time you're hearing this, but this is the friggin' Farm and Ranch Report for Thursday, May 14th, 2026. So on the market flash, we got that's their correction, not mine. I corrected them. They had the lean hogs quote as wrong. All right. So, so Wednesday we had hogs at $100 and $88. That must have been a wrong quote because I'm showing it today at 105.70, and that was down 82.5 cents. But we'll get to that. On the grain, wheat holds. Beans reverse course a little bit. Wheat is the print of the week. The WASD 671 dropped on Monday. New crop at 1.561 billion bushels, below the lowest analyst estimate. Kansas City hard red winter wheat ripped 50 cents on Monday. Had another 31.5 today. It's a 2-day follow through. So the drought story is officially priced in, and now the question is how much higher we go. If you stored winter wheat last fall, your bin got a lot more valuable for the third trading day in a row. And if you buy hay built on a wheat base, book it before July. Beans are the more interesting tell. They're down 6% or 6.25 cents on the Beijing positioning. Monday, they were up 32 on the Summit optimism and are giving it back a little bit today. The market's saying, show us that purchase commitment. Corn was quietly up 7 cents on global stocks being tight. And December corn earning a $5 handle is getting a little bit closer. On the input side, we got what? I don't know why they put the inputs first. Okay, so there's the wheat and beans slide there, as you say, 31.5 up 31.5 cents on Monday. 671 million bushels is a WASD new crop. Wheat is below that. That's how much is below the lowest analyst estimate. July beans down 6.25, and corn quietly up 7 cents. Okay, on the on the input side of things, national diesel still at 5.64. I've told you that 3 weeks running. So try to get local a little bit around here. So off-road diesel around here in Mason Valley, Nevada, is running roughly 5.10 to 5.35 a gallon in bulk. Highways at 5.64. So on a 7 mile an hour or a 7 mile per gallon ranch pickup, you're burning about 80 cents a mile in fuel before tires, oil, or the operator in the seat. The sale barn day, a sale barn day to Fallon and back is about 160 miles round trip. So call it $128 in diesel just to show up. If you took a load of cows over to Galt for the May 20 pair sale, that's 280 miles one way. So call it $450 in fuel before brakes and bridge tolls. Every one of those days is bleeding your money off those cattle. The Hormuz premium is pretty sticky at the moment with those two freighters that the Iranians seized are still being held at Bandar Abbas for some 70 days in the war now. War risk insurance still at 2 to 6% of the whole value, and none of this is changing this week. On the fertilizer side, today, the CEO of the Fertilizer Institute, Corey Rosenbusch, testified in front of the Senate Ag Committee on exactly the squeeze I've been beating you over the head with for 2 weeks. His quote was, you can write this down if you want, but the closure of the Strait of Hormuz impacted about 34% of globally traded urea, 20% of phosphate, 20% of the natural gas is supplied from that region, and natural gas is the feedstock for all of the nitrogen fertilizer. So let's let that sink in for a minute. 1/3 of the world's urea supply runs through the strait, 1/5 of the global phosphate, and 1/5 of the natural gas. That's in global supply. 1/5 of the natural gas that becomes ammonia, that becomes the nitrogen that you put in your corn ground. And this is exactly why your urea price is up 47% since February, and why the Farm Bureau's 70% can't afford it number isn't going to flip back this growing season. It's also a tell that DC is starting to officially connect the dots between the war reel and your inputs bill. Rosenbusch testifying in the Senate Ag is the kind of thing that ends up on in a farm bill rider. Emergency fertilizer reserves, strategic phosphate stockpile play, or something. So watch for that language when the Senate Ag finally schedules the HR 7567 hearing. That's the farm bill. And if you haven't booked nitrogen for the next planting, the Hormuz premium isn't peeling off, and now the head of the Fertilizer Institute is telling Congress that to Congress to their face. So lock it in. Okay. Let's head over to China. Over in Beijing, Trump and Xi sat down in Beijing. The going-in agenda was beef and poultry market access for the U.S. exports and advanced soy purchase commitments. The soybean market told us. Soy market told us how it's reading the room. It's down 6 1/4 cents today after Monday's 32-cent rip. This is not what positioning ahead of a major purchase announcement looks like. The trade is hedging that this ends in a joint statement and not in tonnage. I think that's probably pretty accurate. If beef market access language shows up in the day two readout tomorrow, that is structurally bullish for the export side of the WASD balance sheet. The same WASD where the USDA already raised beef imports to 319 million pounds to ease the consumer squeeze. Watch the export print, not the headline. A handshake about access without a phytosanitary breakthrough. I don't know what that. I know a lot of big words, but I'm not sure what that one means. But without a concrete breakthrough, it's just a bunch of pictures. By Friday's wrap, we'll have the joint statement. So until then, trade what's in front of you and not what has been promised. On the policy note, the brucellosis paper is on the street Wednesday. I teased the APHIS document 2026-05821 sitting in the Federal Register pipeline on brucellosis management in the greater Yellowstone area. Well, that is live now, and paired with the March document 206-04949 that already expanded the brucellosis management area, what we've got is APHIS taking more authority over cross-state cattle movement tied to wildlife reservoirs, and that is bison and elk bleeding the disease into commercial cattle. So if you run cattle in or near the greater Yellowstone boundaries in Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, this matters for you. It means more testing on movement, more paperwork, more risk of a test and hold when you thought you were shipping a clean load of bred heifers. So call your state vet's office before you book a truck out of those counties for sure. HR 7576 is the farm bill, still parked in the Senate Ag Committee. No hearing schedule. and the 2018 extension runs through September 30th, so no immediate crisis. And HR 8698 is still sitting at the House Energy and Commerce since the 7th. My dashboard is also flagging 4 ag bills advancing in Congress today for producer impact review. Senate Bill 424 was read twice and referred to the Senate Ag Committee back in February of last year, and it's still sitting there. We'll pull that 4-bill list for tomorrow's wrap once the committee schedules post. On the drought side of things, do I need to change slides yet? I think I do. Nope, not yet. But okay. On the drought note, the quiet escalation Wednesday that I gave you of 50.9% of the continental United States in drought and 63% of the cattle herd is in that drought area. Today's dashboard alert is the D3 to D4 drought is now covering 16.3% of regions in severe to extreme conditions. The severe and worst number is creeping up while everybody's been watching the ride higher. Southeast is still the worst. The Mid-South is ugly. Southern Plains is pretty tough to ugly. The 6 to 10 day outlook for Nevada has warmer and drier. No real surprise there. Same thing for the 8 to 14 day forecast, but there is active precipitation forecast for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So if that hits, you'll see it in the wheat tape inside a week and feeder bids in the Southern Plains a week after that. For southeastern producers still feeding hay in May, this is liquidation pressure there. So for anybody with grass in the plains or the Great Basin, even out in the desert, start running the math on what southeastern pairs might look in your country if this drags on into July. Looks like it's getting pretty western out in the southeastern part of the country. Okay, let's talk about some land values. This is a story that came across Tri-State Livestock News on my dashboard today. So quietly, while everybody is watching wheat rip higher and cattle get hammered, North Dakota State University Extension, the NDSU Extension, dropped their 2026 pasture land survey today, and it's telling a story that we're going to be telling for the next 12 months or so. For the first time since NDSU has been tracking it, North Dakota pasture land is over $1,000 an acre in every region of the state where they have the data. Statewide average is at $1,556 an acre, and that's up from $972 in 2021. 37.5% jump in 5 years, with roughly a 7% move just from 25 to 26. How much of that has to do with people betting on cattle, and how much that has to do with inflation, I'm not real for sure, but I do believe that both of those come into play pretty heavily. On a region by region note, Northwest North Dakota is at $1,186 an acre. That's up roughly 27% from $936 last year. The North Central is at $1,332, and Southeast is leading the state at $2,154 an acre. That's up 4.7%. East Central and South Central both up about 2.5%, and the Southwest up about 1%. But here's the kicker on that. Cropland values have flattened from 25 to 26. They have not dipped, but they have flattened out. Pasture is appreciating, but cropland is not. And so what that tells you is real money. Crop ground is priced off of corn and beans and the WASDE balance sheet, and that math right now is that 70% of farmers can't afford their inputs. But pasture land is priced off of the cow and the long-term beef story, and the pasture land is priced off the cow and off the long-term beef story, and that long-term beef story is that the WASDE structural cut. So the smallest herd in 70 years and 4-weight calves at $462 a hundred out of Fallon earlier this week. Buyers are betting on cows and not corn. For us out here in the Great Basin, the read across matters. Nevada pasture isn't North Dakota pasture, but when Northwest North Dakota jumps 27% in 12 months, every Western cow-calf outfit's equity number on their FSA loan paperwork just got rewritten. So if you're thinking about buying ground in the next 12 months, that train is leaving. If you're thinking about selling, you've got some leverage that you didn't have last spring. This also ties straight into Wednesday's Colorado wolf budget blow-up story. Wolves are pushing pasture values down in depredation zones, while drought and beef demand are pushing them up everywhere else. The map of western grass is splitting in two, and which side of the line you're on matters a whole lot for what your operation is worth on paper. Let's click over to the war reel real quick. But why was my drought slide there? I don't get it. All right. Well, let me find. I don't know where my war reel. There it is. Okay. Now that's the energy inputs, but there's your drought numbers, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Anyway, on the war reel, we'll keep it pretty tight because really the big news is the Beijing summit. There's not a ton of new news on the Iran Strait of Hormuz deal. Like I said, those two freighters are still being held in Iranian ports. War risk still running 2 to 6% of whole value, and diesel's at $5.64 is what the war reel costs you at the pump, and not. And now the Fertilizer Institute just put a number on what it costs you at the spreader. The UAE out of OPEC is on effective. Yeah, the UAE is out of OPEC effective May 1st, so we're 2 weeks in. So the combined OPEC share is below 30% of world supply. There's no emergency meeting on the calendar, and nothing new in the tanker movement. But Beijing is the real story here. So, like I said, the going in agenda, we covered that a little bit earlier. Beef and poultry market access for exports. But yeah, we'll just have to see how that all plays out. And the way things have been going, I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of concrete actions taken. There'll probably be a lot of pleasantries and nice words and half promises to do something, but until we see some actual real receipts, I'm not going to buy it a whole lot. Where was? All right, I guess. So the Federal Register, we covered that one. Beijing is the story. So there's my war reel. It's way down here. But it doesn't say anything that I haven't said already. But that Rosenbusch testimony to the Senate Ag Committee is showing that Washington D.C. is starting to realize that people out here in farm and ranch country are not real happy about things, and shit's too expensive. So we'll see what the rest comes out of Beijing, and hopefully we have some sort of resolution on the Iran deal. But it's probably an unpopular opinion with a lot of my audience, but I know a lot of y'all are pretty libertarian minded like I am, and I voted for Trump twice. I was talking with Jake the other day, and I was like, Trump was a bad bet, I think. The way things have been going so far, I'm not impressed with this second term, even a little bit. I've never been a diehard Trump guy, but was not any realistic options to choose from besides him. So that's who I went with, and I can't say I regret the choice because I'm still nowhere near ready to say that Kamala Harris would have done a better job. I don't know that she would have done much worse than what Trump has done. Now he's kind of backtracked on most of his campaign promises, other than shutting down the border. That part he did get done. The deportations have been a mess, to put it lightly. And part of that's on the administration. A lot of that's on the protesters and the illegals themselves. But all that being said, with this Iran deal, I think Trump was talked into something that he thought he could win quick, and I don't think there's a quick solution to this whole deal. It seems like Iran has plenty of leverage to go ahead and just keep that Strait of Hormuz shut down, and we wasted. Well, we expended so many munitions and bombs and missiles hitting Iran that we were running low already because of sending everything to Ukraine. But now we spent so many. We used so many of our interceptor missiles and stuff that this ceasefire, quotes, air quotes here, boom boom. The ceasefire deal is not. It's not much of a ceasefire, but also it seems like maybe we're trying to reload on armaments, but also the stuff, all the stuff that we've been firing off at those guys is not made very quickly. Like, they don't make a ton of them every year, and you can tell that there has been a real pinch on it, because Trump even floated the idea of like Ford and GM retrofitting some of their factories to make bombs, and that hasn't happened yet. But the longer this thing draws out in the Strait of Hormuz, I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. And man, every guy that runs for president has just got to be FDR. You know, they gotta do these big programs to get people back to work, and then when that doesn't work, because government programs never work the way they're intended, or at least they fail to see the unforeseen consequences, the second and third order effects of things, or they just willfully ignore it, which is a lot of times the case. But also, don't forget, there's a lot of fucking dummies up in Washington, D.C. So I don't know how long this Iran thing goes. I don't know what the end solution is for it. You know, they say Iran can't ever have a nuclear weapon, but they didn't. They didn't really. God damn it! I didn't turn my mic on. That's all right. I've got a backup. I got a backup. So we'll keep rolling here. But anyway, I think this Iran thing's going to drag on for a while, and that's not good news for oil prices. We've got a lot of oil here in the United States, more than any other country in the world, but we don't have refining capacity, and oil is a global market, and so the West Texas index and the Brent index are kind of attached at the hip, with the Brent index running about $10 higher. But as let's see, what was the oil prices for today? We had West Texas crudes at 102.61. That was up 4.54 on the day, and Brent's at 106.95. So that spread between the two has narrowed pretty considerably. It's only about $4 now. 4 and change. But Brent crude's up $2.75 or 74 cents a barrel. That's 4.6% on the West Texas index, and 2.6 on the Brent. So that's telling you that that Hormuz sticker shock is very real and is very sticky. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. On this day in history, May 14th, 1804, the Lewis and Clark expedition departed Camp Dubois and headed up the Missouri River. It was the first real reconnaissance mission west of the Mississippi, and at its core, it was an agricultural intel mission. What grows out there, what runs out there, what waters are out there, and it took them a little over 2 years to come back with an answer. We're kind of doing the same thing today with a dashboard and a microphone instead of a keel boat and a journal. Different tools, kind of the same job. Little less risky on my end. You know, I don't have. We do got a lot of Indians around this area with a couple of reservations close by, but they were all Paiute and they weren't very warlike in the first place. Or at least not towards the whites. And I don't have to worry about them burning down my wagon, I don't think. So a little bit safer on my end than Lewis and Clark, but 220 years ago today, that's where it all started. And it was a pretty big expedition. A lot of meaningful information came out of that journey, and it set the course for westward expansion and what made this country into what it is today. On a sports note, A's dropped 5-4 to the who the fuck did we play? Oh, the Cardinals. Sorry, it's been a long week. A lot of baseball rattle around in this old brain over the past month or so. My A's, the Yerington Walker River A's, they dropped game 11-6 today, but they played really well. My son was starting pitcher, and I had him on a pretty strict pitch count, so because we got another game on Saturday, so I wanted to be able to have him available, and so I pulled him after just under 50 pitches, but he went an inning and 2/3, punched out 5 dudes. We had 2 outs left in the second when I had to take him out. He just let one guy off the hook that would have got us out of the inning. We also had a little oopsie daisy on some defensive plays, but we got the bats going a little bit, not enough. The Yerington White Sox took us down, and we are still winless on the year, but we got one more regular season game, and I can feel it. We're going to win. Anyway, A's dropped 2 out of 3 to the Redbirds, but we got some. They were all really competitive games. Bullpen blew it earlier today, and the youngsters that got called up from AAA, Henry Bolte and Michael Stefanik, have been on a tear. Bolte's on a now 2-game hit streak in the 2 games that he's played in the majors. Stefanik, I don't know if he got in the. I know he pinch hit. I can't remember what he did. Either way, it's a fun young team, the West Sacramento A's, and looking forward to seeing them in San Diego next week. On the Avalanche note, they head to the Western Conference Finals. After taking care of the Minnesota Wild. The Toy Story 5/Stanley Cup theory remains alive until the puck drops. NBA's conference semifinals are grinding, and baseball is feeling the in-between innings of the day. It's definitely baseball season and weather out here in Western Nevada, and I've been busy with it all week between my son's team and my daughter's softball team. My voice is a little bit shot coming into tonight's recording, so bear with me. We're about done. We got 3 things to watch for Friday's wrap, so we'll do a weekly wrap tomorrow. Number 1, does the cash cattle hold or fold after Friday's Fed cattle exchange? That's a trade. The Trump beef tariff order I had that in my notes. I don't know why it didn't make it into my script. But here, we got to run through the cattle numbers real quick as well, because I tell you, AI, it's like babysitting a lazy teenager. But the Fed Cattle Exchange answered to Tuesday's $260 a hundredweight print. Is the board did not believe it, and it sold Tuesday, it sold Wednesday, and it sold harder today. Feeders were down 10.18 to 358.23 on the August contract. Live cattle. June live cattle were at 246.40. That was down $3 even. And like I said, the August feeders down 10.18 on top of the 250 to 730 hit that it took on Tuesday. The walk is accelerating and not stalling, but lean hogs are still rocking along. It was down a little bit today, but it seems like the hogs have been a pretty strong play here last week or so. So Tuesday's cash print at 260 live in the South was record territory, and the board didn't buy it. I told you Wednesday that the speculative longs have walked, and open interest on live cattle bled to 222. Today's action confirms it. The feeders are eating another $10 while corn's up 7 cents. So you can run the math on your own, but if you're working at 360 a ton feeders and 460 a bushel corn, you're now bidding 358 with corn at 467 and 3/4, and diesel sitting at 564 a gallon. The break even on cattle placed today doesn't get cheaper for about 120 days. That's the trade speculators are pricing, and they don't think that the 260 cash makes it to August. But the real story that broke today that changes the calculus is Wall Street Journal reported President Trump has delayed issuing that executive order to lower beef tariffs. It's the one I told you about Monday that Brownfield first flagged as fixing to temporarily suspend tariffs on beef exporting nations to help bring consumer prices down. But the reason it got pulled was because ranch and farm leaders raised hell. American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duval did not mince words. I figure I'd have never heard that guy talk, but I just picture he's got a real thick, kind of gay Southern accent, like a Lindsey Graham. But he didn't mince any words, so I'm going to read it in Lindsey Graham votes. Any plans to increase beef imports are extremely worrisome and could undermine the fragile recovery ranchers are experiencing. Like I said, I have no idea what that guy sounds like, but that's what I'm saying he sounds like in my own head. Farm Action piled onto that as well, calling the plan a giveaway to JBS. And remember that JBS is one of the 4 packers that the DOJ is investigating right now. So you've got the administration on one hand is running a criminal antitrust probe of the packers, and on the other hand, they're drafting an executive order that would let those same packers import cheaper foreign beef instead of bidding up domestic fats. The contradiction is exactly why ranchers and ranch country itself pushed back, and it's exactly why the order got delayed. So what this means for the market tape is the bearish overhang that knocked feeders down 995 Monday is officially off the table. It's a quiet bullish market for the cash cattle. If the order stays delayed, packers are going to have to keep bidding the 260 number to keep their chains moving. And if it gets reintroduced next week with a tweaked import list, the feeders will take another hit. So watch the Wall Street Journal and in your inbox and see how that plays out on that Big Four Packer probe. Nothing new to report there. No new docket movement since the May 4th press conference that we have already covered. Whistleblower math is still at 15 to 30% of any fines over $1 million. On the sale barn side, so on my dashboard, I've got it set for OKC West, Billings Livestock, Clovis, Salina, Utah, Torrington, Lone Star Stockyards, and Winter Livestock is kind of what I've been running here lately. But also Nevada Livestock Marketing out of Fallon, Nevada, on their recent regular sale. That's one of the hometown barns here. Most recent run posted, they had 19 head of 426 pound four weight steers moving as the top lot. 513 pounders at $455 a hundred. That's the 5th and 10th all time at the barn. They had some 6 weights averaging 624 at 405, and another draft of 76 head at 392. That's the 5th and 8th highest in that class. And we had 46 head of 701 pounders at 350, and that's the 4th highest 7-weight sale ever in Fallon. I don't know if that's true for the other Fallon or for Fallon Livestock, but at least for Nevada Livestock Marketing. That builds on the March 20th history maker out of Fallon. They had some 4 weights, 442 pounders at 642 a hundredweight, and 459 pounders at 630. That was the first and third high all time. They had some 5 weights, 104 head, averaging 513 pounds at 571.50. That's the highest 5-weight sale in U.S. history for groups of 30 head or more. That's kind of a big deal, huh? Some 603 pound steers at 490 a hundred. Drafts from 600 to 620, running anywhere from 459 to 470. On the 8 weights, we had some 806 pounders at 351, 805 pounders at 350, 824 at 349.50, and 9 weights, their 907 pound average brought 336, and 992 weights, 992 average at 323. On the all-time 4-weight side, Nevada Livestock posted 20 heads at 408 pounds, 565 a hundred, and that's setting 5 more barn records. So to get a read on that, on Nevada Livestock Marketing, lightweight cattle, 4 to 6 weights, are setting national records out here in our own backyard. But you move up the weight ladder and prices converge with everybody else. By 9 weights, you're at 323 to 336, right in line with what OKC West printed yesterday. The premium is concentrated below 700 pounds. Regular sales are noon Wednesdays there at Fallon, there, and you can watch them at DV Auction if you can't make the drive. Stay in there in Fallon. We had Fallon Livestock on Tuesday, different barn, same town. They had 12 head of heifers at 1,082 average that brought 225 on Tuesday's National Beef Wire ticker. Heavy end cow and coal territory. You can, for the full market report, you can head over to FallonLivestock.com. Locals have 2 outfits within an hour of each other to choose from. Cattlemen's Livestock out of Harrison, Arkansas, on Tuesday. The sale market report posted yesterday on the 13th. Market steady to $5 lower. Weigh cows and bulls steady to $3 higher. Softer Ozark country read than Joplin on Monday. Cow side is firming up. Coal cow money is still real, even with feeders taking their haircut. Cattlemen's Livestock out of Galt, California. So that sale was yesterday. As Northern California's only Wednesday auction, draws the Western buyer crowd. So they ran a CLM feeder special yesterday, and the weighted average post late. But one to circle is Cattlemen's Livestock pair and bred cow special running on Wednesday, May 20th. That's next week. If pairs bring the same type of money that they brought last fall or better, that herd rebuild thesis has some real legs. Sioux Falls Regional in Worthing, South Dakota. for a Plains comparison, 14 head of three weight steers. They averaged 357 and they brought 545 a 100 weight. That was near an all-time high. 535 pounders brought 437.50. That's the second highest on record. And some 658 weight or 658 pound average. They brought 385. That's the third highest 6-weight class of all time. And so it's the same story, 1,400 miles east of us. The lighter the cattle, the heavier the premium. And on the national note for the 8 weights, this week's 8 weights are averaging 353.60. So that's up from 352.26 last week. But still a $30 plus discount to the 7 weights. Feedlots are not paying up for 8 weights because corn is at 467 3/4 and diesel's at 564 or 515 if you're on the off-road diesel. And that just doesn't pencil very well for placing those type of cattle. What that means for everybody is the weight class slope across all the barns, 3 or 4 weights at 545 to 642, and that is like record book money. That is record book money. On the 5 weight side, we got 437.50 to 571.50, and so 4 and 5 weights also screaming right along. 6 weights at 385 to 490. The bid's there, but it falls off pretty quick after 650 pounds. On the 7 weights, we got 353.50. It's good prices, but it's pretty discounted from the 6 weights. 8 weights are running 349 to 353.60, and that's stuck about $30 below the 7 weights. 9 weights are running 323 to 336. It's same as the heavies coming out of Oklahoma City West there in El Reno, and cull cows are steady to $3 higher. So that slope from 565 on 4 weights to 323 on 9 weights is the entire feeder market story in one chart. Buyers are paying up to own a calf they can put on grass, and they can put grass time on them. But buyers are not paying up to own a finished placement risk. So if you got light cattle, you're sitting on gold. And if you got 8 weights, you're selling into a margin compressed yard market that doesn't believe that the 260 the cash level is going to hold. All right. I think that's all I've got for today. Apologize. It was kind of a thrown together show, but like I said, I've been a little bit busy, but we're on it. So, some things to look for. We talked about does cash hold or fold after Friday's Fed cattle exchange prints. That is a trade to look for. The Trump beef tariff order, does it stay buried or does it come back with a new country list that's tweaked a little bit? If it stays delayed, though, that 260 cash number has another leg. But if it comes back and they just tweak the list or just run it back as is, the feeders are going to take another hit. The Beijing summit is closing out tomorrow. They're probably talking right now because they're way ahead of us. But a joint statement language on beef access and soy commitment is what you can probably expect. The bean market's already telling you that they don't expect a whole lot out of it. And then that APHIS brucellosis comment period, now that 2026-05821 is live, the clock is running. So if you got a stake in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, in that greater Yellowstone area, make sure you go comment on it. Whether it does anything for you or not, I don't know. But this has been the Friggin' Farm and Ranch Report for Thursday, May 14th, 2026. The cash market is leading, but the futures don't believe it. Trump pulled the tariff order after ranch country raised hell, and light cattle are setting national records out of Fallon, Nevada, and a lot of other places across the country. The Fertilizer Institute just told the Senate Ag Committee that the Hormuz controls a third of the world's urea, and North Dakota pasture land broke $1,000 an acre statewide. Wheat held on the WASD report for 2 straight days. Beijing is a wait and see situation, and the Federal Register just made life more complicated if you run cattle in the greater Yellowstone area. That's all I got. So send me your local sale barn numbers, and I'll work them in either tomorrow or next week's show. Just to point it out, make sure you go check out the Substack, burningdaylight.substack.com, and all the social media platforms that you may be on. I'm probably on them. Go find me, either Matt McKinley, Burning Daylight, or at Move Your Ass. That's MOVEYERASS. Go follow me, like, share, subscribe. Go join the Substack. You get a detailed rundown of all these reports, and then also you get access to the apps that I'm building and that I use pretty much every day, including the Burning Daylight report, which is what I use to put this show together, as well as A Man About a Horse, which is an equine intelligence app trying to put some kind of number and definition on the horse market. And I think it's a pretty cool app. So if you got any sort of interest in that, please let me know, and I'll get you hooked up. I need some people to price out their horses and grade them on my new cowboy horse coefficient. So like I said, if you're interested in that, please let me know. Send me an email, DM, wherever, whatever, and I'll get you set up. But on that note, stay safe out there. Get your diesel bought before it screams any higher, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Just together, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, you're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight.